Once upon a time, there was a 12-year-old boy named Odera who lived with his mother Ngozi and older sister Amara in a modest 3-bedroom house. The house stood as a testament to his father's hard work, a proud man who had constructed it with his own hands during his years at a respected company. But 5 years ago, tragedy struck. Odera's father passed away unexpectedly at just 35 years old. He had been the family's sole provider, and his sudden death left behind a void that seemed impossible to fill. Odera's mother was only 27 years old when her husband died. At such a young age, she found herself alone. The weight of loss crushed her spirit, but the burden of providing for her children pressed even harder upon her shoulders. The company where her husband had worked offered a meager compensation of 500,000 naira, barely enough to sustain them for a few months. And unfortunately, none of their relatives or friends came forward to offer any support. They say that in times of hardship, even relatives become strangers. And that's exactly what happened. Odera's mother would often whisper to herself as she stared out the window. Their home, once surrounded by friends and family, the house now stood in isolation. No one called. No one visited. Everyone continued with their lives as if Odera's family had ceased to exist. Odera's mother, who had known only the role of a loving wife and mother, now faced an unfamiliar path. Her days dissolved into tears and her nights into worry. How would she feed her children? How would they survive? Despite her careful planning and desperate attempts to save money, the funds her husband left behind vanished within 8 months. Bills mounted and food became scarce. With no other options remaining, she made the painful decision to find work outside their home. She first secured a job as a house cleaner for a wealthy family. The pay was minimal, but it was something. Determined to provide, she soon took on 2 more cleaning jobs. Working 3 jobs, Odera's mother earned 45,000 naira a month, barely enough to cover their basic needs. Half of her income went toward keeping Odera and Amara in school, leaving very little for everything else. Odera tried his best to focus on his education. He knew his mother sacrificed everything for him and his sister, and he was determined not to let her down. But hunger has a way of clouding even the sharpest minds. For 2 days, Odera had eaten nothing. His body weakened, and concentration became impossible. In class, he drank water to quiet the painful growling of his empty stomach, hoping it would be enough to get him through the day. As he sat at his desk, the classroom began to spin around him. Voices became distant echoes, and the words in his textbook blurred into meaningless shapes. His vision darkened at the edges as consciousness threatened to slip away. Mr. Tayo, his teacher, noticed the change in Odera immediately. The usually attentive boy now sat slumped in his chair, his face ashen and eyes unfocused. "Odera, are you all right?" Mr. Tayo asked, placing a gentle hand on the boy's shoulder. With great effort, Odera forced his eyes open. "Yes, sir, I'm fine," he whispered, his voice barely audible. Mr. Tayo wasn't convinced. "Tell me what's really happening. You don't look well at all." After a moment's hesitation, Odera admitted the truth. "We have no food at home, sir. I haven't eaten for 2 days. I don't feel well." Mr. Tayo's heart sank. Without hesitation, he helped Odera to the staff room and immediately sent the school's security guard to the nearby market with some money. "Quickly bring something for Odera to eat," he instructed. Minutes later, The guard returned with meat pie and a cold bottle of Fanta. Mr. Tayo handed the food to Odera. "Here, eat this. You need to regain your strength." Odera hesitated at first, but hunger soon overcame his reluctance. As he bit into the meat pie and sipped the sweet drink, color gradually returned to his face. His vision cleared, and for the first time in days, the fog in his mind lifted. "How do you feel now?" Mr. Tayo asked, relief visible on his face. Odera nodded weakly. "I'm better, sir. Thank you." "Good," Mr. Tayo smiled. "Now go back to class, and after school, come see me in my office." When the final bell rang, Odera made his way to Mr. Tayo's office, still feeling weak but now able to think clearly. "Don't worry, Odera. I'm going to help you," Mr. Tayo said, rising from his desk. "Come, let's go to the market." Mr. Tayo took Odera on his motorcycle, and together they rode to the busy market. There, the teacher bought everything Odera's family needed: rice, beans, yams, palm oil, and other essentials. But he didn't stop there. Mr. Tayo delivered the groceries directly to Odera's home. Ngozi wasn't there. She was still working late into the night, cleaning homes, often returning in the early morning hours. After placing the groceries in the kitchen, Mr. Tayo turned to Chidi. "From now on, I will make sure your family has food. I'll bring supplies every month so you can focus on your studies and not worry about your next meal." A wave of relief washed over Odera. Never had he imagined someone outside his family would care so deeply about their well-being. Before leaving, Mr. Tayo placed his hand on Odera's shoulder. "I know things are difficult right now, but focus on your education. It's your path to a better future. I'll take care of the rest." True to his word, Mr. Tayo's intervention wasn't a one-time gesture. Every month, without fail, he would send groceries to their home. Despite his modest teacher's salary, he continued to help without asking for anything in return. When Odera's mother came home that evening to find their kitchen fully stocked with groceries, she couldn't believe her eyes. "How did all this get here?" she asked, surprised. Odera, sitting nearby, explained, "It was Mr. Tayo, my school teacher, Mama. He promised to send groceries every month. He even spoke to the school and got my unpaid fees waived." Upon hearing this, Odera's mother broke down in tears. She couldn't comprehend why someone with no obligation to them would extend such generosity. That night, she prayed fervently for Mr. Tayo's well-being. Grateful for his kindness during their darkest hour, Mr. Tayo's support extended beyond material help. He took a genuine interest in Odera's future, knowing that education was the boy's only escape from poverty. He encouraged Odera to focus solely on his studies and promised to always stand by him. Though deeply grateful, Odera's mother couldn't shake the guilt of being unable to repay Tayo's kindness. But when she expressed this, Mr. Tayo, ever humble, simply said, "Consider me your brother. Helping you is the least I can do. You and Odera are like family to me." As the months passed, Odera threw himself into his studies with renewed determination. Inspired by Mr. Tayo's selflessness, he began to dream of a better life, one where he could repay his teacher for everything he had done. Odera's schoolwork improved dramatically. The once distracted, hungry boy became attentive, focused, and full of hope. His teachers noticed the transformation, marveling at his newfound dedication. Mr. Tayo had instilled in Odera the belief that no matter how difficult life became, education would always be the key to overcoming obstacles. Odera came to believe that if he worked hard enough, he could change not only his life, but also help others, as Mr. Tayo had helped him. Years passed, and Odera's perseverance paid off. He received the news he had been dreaming of, a full scholarship to study at a prestigious university abroad. Joy like he had never known before filled his heart. All the hardships he and his family had endured finally seemed worthwhile. Odera's mother and Amara could barely contain their excitement. For the first time in years, they had something to celebrate. Odera had never imagined studying overseas. It had seemed like an impossible dream, reserved only for the wealthy and privileged. Yet here he was, with a plane ticket in hand, about to begin a new chapter. The day Odera left for his studies, Odera's mother and Amara stood with him at the airport, tears streaming down their faces. Odera hugged them tightly and promised to make them proud. As he boarded the plane, he reflected on his journey, from a boy struggling to survive to a young man with a promising future ahead. He knew in his heart that none of it would have been possible without Mr. Tayo's kindness. At the university, everything was arranged for Odera. His accommodation, meals, and expenses were all covered by the scholarship. Overwhelmed with gratitude, he knew he stood at the threshold of a new life. Odera settled into his studies, but never forgot his family back home. The scholarship provided him with extra money, which he faithfully sent to his mother each month. He encouraged her to stop working as a cleaner, wanting her to rest and enjoy some comfort after years of sacrifice. Over time, Odera's financial situation improved further. He secured a part-time job while studying, allowing him to send even more money home. Odera's mother used these funds to renovate their house, transforming it into the comfortable home she had always dreamed of providing for her children. The family's life, once defined by constant worry and hardship, now bloomed with hope and possibility. Interestingly, relatives who had once ignored them when times were tough suddenly began appearing at their doorstep, offering friendship and help as if they had always been supportive. Odera's mother noticed the change but harbored no resentment. Meanwhile, Amara completed her studies, and the entire family looked to the future with newfound optimism. After graduating with honors, Odera received a job offer from a prestigious company in Nigeria. The position came with a generous starting salary of 1 million naira, an amount that would have seemed unimaginable during his childhood. Before starting his new job, Odera bought gifts for his mother and sister, wanting to show them how much they meant to him. The day he left for his new position was emotional. Ngozi held him tight and kissed his forehead, her eyes glistening with tears of joy and pride. On his first day as a general manager, sitting at his impressive desk, Odera couldn't help but think of Mr. Tayo. Without his teacher's kindness, none of this would have been possible. Mr. Tayo had given more than just food and financial help. He had given Odera something even more powerful: belief in himself. Determined to find his former teacher and express his gratitude, Odera arranged for his company car to take him to his old school. There, he learned that Mr. Tayo had left the institution a year ago. After some searching, Odera obtained his address. Arriving at Mr. Tayo's modest home with fruits and gifts, Odera was shocked by what he saw. The once energetic and vibrant teacher now appeared weak and frail. Age and hardship had taken their toll on the man who had once been Odera's salvation. Mr. Tayo had been giving private lessons to make ends meet. but illness had recently prevented him from working. Seeing his mentor in need, Odera immediately arranged for the best medical treatment and began sending food and supplies to Mr. Tayo's home daily. As Mr. Tayo's health improved under Odera's care, Odera's mother began visiting the teacher's family regularly. She developed a special bond with Mr. Tayo's daughter, Adaora, a bright young woman who had recently graduated from university. Seeing how kind and respectful Odera's family was toward Adaora, and how Odera had grown into such an honorable man, Mr. Tayo happily agreed when Odera's family proposed a marriage between the two young people. The man who had once been the helper now found himself being helped. The kindness he had shown years ago had returned to him, multiplied. Mr. Tayo felt deeply grateful to God for bringing Odera into his life. Odera had become successful not just through his own hard work, but also because of the incredible support he had received from Mr. Tayo. The teacher who had once been a guiding light in his darkest hour had now become like family. With a heart full of gratitude, Odera promised to carry on Mr. Tayo's legacy of helping others. He knew that one day, he too would pass on the kindness that had once been shown to him. And so, the cycle of compassion continued, a beautiful reminder that one simple act of kindness can change not just one life, but many generations to come. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the bell. More stories that heal, teach, and inspire are coming your way. See you in the next one.